Hello friends, it looks like we're here to talk about the next entry in a wonderful series. A series that will rock you to your very core. VHS 2.
Hey, howdy doodly there, neighbor. Yeah, that's right, we're going to be talking about VHS number dose. And I think we're going to break it down a lot like I did the last video. Do it from worst to best. I know, surprising. A YouTuber's gonna rank the stories in an anthology horror movie from worst to best. How original! Look at this guy doing a lot of original things. But I like that way. I like the way it was formatted in the last one. Now this one does have way better. It's way better than the first movie. I'm gonna get away. I'm gonna make some big grindy steps in that direction to say this is a much better film than the first movie. So that being said, even the worst film I think can compete with the best of the last one. And that being said, let's get right into the first film. Alright, getting wet and wild with Slumber Party Alien Abduction. Now, yeah, that's one, it's a dumb name for a story. Two, like this whole idea kind of comes off a little bit fine. Everything's good about it. It's nothing, they don't do anything inherently wrong. I think the thing that turns me off the absolute most, the thing that kicks me off into this being the worst film in the thing, is just the way these aliens look. Now, I actually was way more on board with this, because the way it starts with this older sister. She's watching her kid, or her younger kid brother and his friends, and then her boyfriend's there. So there's even some fun moments where the younger kids, because they have a camcorder, they're messing with the older sister, and that's cool. There's something about that that's very innocent and takes me back to when I was that age and some of my friends' older siblings and how we'd mess with them. And it's just something very almost generic but wholesome in the same regard. You've seen it before, but you're always willing to explore and have fun with that idea. And it is kind of funny that all these kids are able to stay out here at this age without any parental supervision. I get there's an older sibling involved, but come on, no supervision. So that kind of took me out of it. But one thing at the very beginning, when you first see the entity, the alien, it ends up being aliens, but you think that it's almost water people because they're swimming in the water. They jump in, they're like sitting there, they're about to squirt the sister with the squirt gun. Ooh, we're gonna get him, it's gonna be funny. But right behind one of the kids is the alien. He's hovering over. He's Mr. Gray. But I thought it was like water people. I thought we were going to get like some Creature from the Black Lagoon type content here. But that's not what we got. It's not really what you end up with. You end up with like a very generic alien abduction story. Now, the best thing that they did in this entire thing was they strapped the camera to the dog. So the whole time you're seeing the aliens kind of kill people and abduct these kids, it's from the back of a dog. So you see like the hair coming up in front of the camera. And I thought that was really cool. I thought that was everything about this is really well shot. It comes across as well done. I think if the aliens didn't look like the aliens from Scary Movie 3, I would have been much more on board. But they look straight up like the ones from Scary Movie 3. And I kept thinking about the moment where the alien has his finger in Leslie Nielsen's mouth and is peeing in his mouth. I just kept having that thing, and it took me out of the film. Nothing, like I said, nothing is inherently wrong about this. I just think that design of the aliens was a little underdone, and the fact that it went with an alien abduction instead of the Creature from the Black Lagoon angle, which the way it starts, it kind of makes me feel like it's going to be that direction. I know it's kind of a misdirection that it does on purpose, but I just think that we don't get enough Creature from the Black Lagoon type content. But that's all I got on that one, and worst out of the movie. Now, the next one on our list, I was kind of confused on if I wanted to put the main narrative or this one in this spot right after Slumber Party, but I decided to go with this one. And now, this one is a ride in the park. It has this kind of cool idea where it's just following this biker. He's got a GoPro on his head. He's just killing himself some jumps and some bumps. And I'm terrible on a bike. You get me going, I crash right away. I am the skid knee king. I need some knee pads. But he finds upon this dead body, and it's a zombie thing. In my notes for this thing, I said zombies equal boring, because I'm so sick of zombie shit. I've gotten to the point where I won't even watch zombie movies. I won't play zombie games. I'm just so sick of zombies. I think they're so overdone. But I'm gonna preface this with a but. I love the way they did this because right after he finds a zombie, I thought he was just gonna be running from zombies the whole time, generic zombie thing. No, they have him get bit and he becomes a zombie. So you get FPS zombie. That equals cool. That instantly puts me back into it. I am officially kind of sold. Now, typical zombie romp. Nothing crazy, nothing going out of the wild, but it is the camera angle that I think really puts you in a better scenario here. The fact that he's chasing down and killing people in real time, you're watching it in first person, and when chaos starts to happen, it utilizes other camera angles from the event. Really well done, really well done. I don't have a ton to say about that because that's kind of all it is. The only like parts that kind of got kind of crappy is when the zombies are actually tearing into the bodies. There's a moment where both these bike riders are tearing into the bodies, and I'm like, yeah, their bike helmets would be definitely clashing. You would hear a lot of clanking, and the fact that, I don't know if you tried to do anything logical with a bike helmet, but they always get in the way. So the fact that these bikers are just eating out somebody's intestines with a bike helmet on, I kind of find that a little stupid. But the whole camera angle, the FPS zombie thing, totally cool. But there really wasn't much else to this one other than that. So that's kind of why it ended up right after the alien abduction, because at least with this one, I didn't think about aliens peeing out of their finger. Now to get into tape 49. Yes, the one that holds this whole movie together. The last time I said that the tape that held the entire thing together was one of the shortcomings of the film. In fact, on this one, it's actually a little bit better because they're like private investigators. They actually have a job where they investigate shit, and they're not terrible people. The whole movie starts out with the private investigator like watching this married dude plow out some chick in a hotel room, and he gets chased off, and then they go on this other job where they're supposed to find this guy, and they find the apartment he's in, and they go inside. It's got all the TVs like the last movie, and throughout this entire thing, he's like creeping around corners. It's not like they find him dead like the last one. It's really cool, and the girl's watching these VHS tapes, and the guy kind of alludes to, if you watch all these tapes, something will happen to you. Ooh, spooky! It's like saying Bloody Mary in the mirror 3 times. It kind of has that really cool vibe that pulls you back to middle school, where you go to a pizza party, and you guys would go to the bathroom, and then say Bloody Mary in the mirror 3 times. Oh, we're all gonna die when we get over to your house for the sleepover. Oh my gosh! It has that vibe, and she does end up getting a bloody nose, and he goes and gets her an aspirin from the store down the way. When he comes back, she's fucking dead. This is the worst part of this whole thing. This is where it got a little dumb, is you can tell she's dead. He's like, oh no, my love of my life. Why have you died, baby? Baby, why have you died? And instead of like getting out of there because something's wrong, he sees a tape and in bloody red letters on it, it says, watch me, nay nay. And he's like, oh, well, she's already dead. I might as well watch the last tape. And he gets into the last movie. But when it does come back to him, he watches the thing that's on the laptop. And the coolest part of this is the dude filming it ends up like, himself in the jaw and blows his jaw into like this weird, grotesque, like, area, and it then cuts with him coming back up because it didn't kill him, walking off screen, and then them walking into the house. How fucking cool that this thing has been recording in real time up until they got there. Now, I'm sure there is some issues with that whole thing, because when they get there, it's like she sees the thing already saved and hits play on it, so it had stopped recording, I guess, after they got there. There's some plot holes in that. I did think the idea was incredibly well done and incredibly cool, though. And she gets up, she chases him, he's all scared, he shoots her in the fucking head. Finally, they be shooting people and killing bad monsters, and he ends up in the bathroom with the guy who blew his jaw apart, and he dies. That is such a cool idea. This one, I actually cared about the people involved watching these tapes because they weren't absolute degenerates that deserved to die from the get-go. So, like my biggest problem with the last movie, they fixed in this movie, and I can't give it enough round of applause. Yep, that's right. We are down to the final two, the big money makers. Now, I do believe that the last movie, their top two are better than this one. Now, the best story in this one, I think, shits on everything in the first movie, but the chick with the head splice, I think that's really cool. The whole gaslighting somebody into having an alien baby thing, that is way amazing. So those first top two are what that make that first movie so epic. Now this one is the starting story of this movie, and I don't think it quite hits those levels. I think that it gets close. It is better than the other slop that was in the first movie that I had a lot of gripes with. This one, the whole idea is this guy gets in some sort of wreck, and his eye ends up getting replaced with a robotic guy. He's got an Elon Musk chip in his brain so that he can like read info and actually see again. And he gets home and he starts seeing ghosts. He starts seeing ghosts and ghoulies. As he's leaving the hospital, though, there's this chick that like gives him this look like, I know you're gonna see stuff. I know there's something wrong with you. And she shows up at his fucking house. I don't know how she got his address. I don't, like, she must have, like, got the doctor to, like, dox him or something. I don't know. I don't know how she figured out to get to his house, but she does. And she basically tells him that she can hear ghosts. She can hear ghosts because she used to be deaf, and they gave her an implant, and now she can hear dead people. It's a really cool idea and a really cool concept. I like the way that it just kind of... There was a movie back in the day, and I can't remember what it's called. Leave it in the comments below, but there was this chick who got her eyes replaced with somebody else's, and then she starts seeing ghosts. I can't remember what the movie was called. I remember it being kind of okay, but not great. But this is just kind of a better realization of that. I think the real only gripe I had with it is the main guy's face is so... He looks stupid. I don't know. I feel bad because that's like a characteristic that the actor can't change. But it's just when I saw his face, I'm like, you don't look as cool as you are. And there's a part where the chick literally comes in and then she just like has sex with him. And I get that she's having sex with him because her creepy ass fat uncle is standing in his whitey tighties out the window, and the only way to get rid of him is by having sex with this guy. Because I don't know why. Creepy uncle stuff. I don't know. But it's like, I don't know if I would just be like going over to somebody's house and then having sex with them. I don't know, especially if they had the douchey thing right here and the mustache. I don't know. He looked like I didn't buy that she just like followed him home and just plowed him. It does go like evolve into chaos after this. I mean, it really goes off the rails and ghosts everywhere, and he cuts out his own eye, and which we already knew wasn't going to work. It just evolves into the typical hocus pocus paranormal garbage, but it was fun. It was very entertaining. It had some good spooks, and that's all you can ask from a scary story. I think the last movie, when it did its paranormal thing, I thought really missed the mark with its whole exorcism thing. I thought the special effects kind of looked stupid. This one went back to the basics and gave you a very good, well done, spooky ghost story without going too over the line, and I think that's why it got the number 2 spot. Drum roll, please. Number one. Yes, I know 1 and Uno are the same thing, and Uno has a fun card game. But we are getting into the absolute best that this could absolutely offer. This by itself, Safe Haven in a vacuum is fantastic. It's not just that it's a VHS from the VHS series. This, if it was its own film and extended out, I think would be an epic movie that would go down in history as a fantastic film. It is just so well done. I do have gripes with it because I'm a little gripey boy. I'm a gripey boy. But when it comes down to actually, this is so good. It kind of follows this documentary crew, right? They're going to investigate this Jim Jones guy in Indonesia. Now, if you don't know who Jim Jones was, he was a cult leader back in the day who was like, communism plus religion equals commune in South America. And when the Congress people and stuff went to investigate this commune to see if it was actually pretty bad, which it was, they end up killing the congressman and then taking a ride down the sewer slide with some Flavor Aid. It's a whole thing. Look it up. But this is kind of the same direction it's going, and I have to say, this cult leader is gnarly, bro. This is one of the most gnarly things you will ever watch. I want to show some, I wanted to show more, like, screenshots and stuff from this in this part of the video, but I don't know what I can show because it's so gnarly. This is, like, one of the most grotesque things. You think it's just, like, Jim Jones cult, where he's probably having, sensual relationships with, people of, younger age, and that's already creepy, but he's, like, cutting himself, on his stomach and like with weird symbols, and ends up being a demon cult. but it's just so over the top. There is a point when they do go down the sewer slide as an entire group, and then they come back as almost zombies. And the biggest gripe I had was in this part where they all kind of sewer slide and become zombies, because the one guy who still remains, there's guns everywhere. One of the guys that still remains, they're best friends. The two guys that are remaining are best friends, and there's one girl still left. The one girl that's still alive, she's actually dating the main documentarian, and the other guy is his best friend. Now, what you find out is the best friend's been plowing his girl, and she's pregnant with his child. Well, the Indonesian cult people find out she's got baby inside of her and take her off into a sketchy, blood room. Where earlier in the thing, best friend finds this room, and there's just a girl that's spread eagle, and her stomach's all big, and it's like they cut down the middle of her stomach, and a C-section goes across. When you have a C-section, it goes across the belly, and then they pull the child out. These guys look like they took a machete and just right down the middle of her, and just yanked the fetus out of her. It is gnarly looking, and she's kind of going in that direction. And you got the last two guys remain, and they're trying to get out of here and save people and do the normal we gotta survive this crazy situation type stuff. And it's funny because they put one guy on his knees, he gets plowed in the back of the head with a shotgun, and the one guy then is told to stand there while evil cult guy shoots himself. Not the main leader, but just another random cult guy, number 7. He blasts himself, and instead of the best friend deciding, oh, there are a lot of guns around this joint, I should pick up one of the 17 Glocks or 5 shotguns, he just leaves them and goes and picks up a pipe and finds the girl. Before he finds the girl, he runs down the hallway where the girl is, and the cult leader walks out, and he's in his whitey tighties covered in blood, and this dude's already stabbed somebody in the neck with a X-Acto knife. He is gnarly, he's covered in blood, and then he explodes. Before he even shows up, the room blows up, and there's all his dead bodies and blah, blah, blah. But he comes out, walks out, and then he's like, it's too late, and blows up. He says it in another language, it's on subtitles at the bottom, but he blows up. And the guy runs in there, and there's all these possessed girls holding the chick that he impregnated on the table, and she's like, it's too late, and her stomach starts to rip open, and this goat thing comes out. The goat thing is hit or miss. I have to say, the way the goat thing looks, and the way this ends with the goat thing. So he ends up getting out of the thing, wrecking his car because goat monster knocks the car off the road, and he's sitting there drooling and bleeding, and the monster leans over and says, Papa? So dumb. It sucks because that's kind of dumb. It's still one of the best, analog style horror things I've ever seen, but the Papa thing is come on, dude. Papa, that's what we're saying. I mean, there was tons of notes I had on this whole thing, and I remember writing Papa dumb. That is so it's just not funny. I laughed in that section. It sucks because there's so much good scares in this area to do with Papa dumb. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Everything else, there is one more gripe. I want to there was little things that I gripe. I gripe. That seems like a little gripe to you. But my biggest gripe in the entire movie actually goes back to what I had for number 2, the whole eye replacement guy. When you're in his house, I didn't feel like bringing this up in that part because it's a dumb gripe. But he's playing on a PlayStation 3 with an Xbox original controller, and I'm pretty sure the games on the ground are Xbox 360 games. What? Well, what is with movies and when they do video games, they just aren't even fucking close. It's like having an Atari controller with an Xbox One while a PlayStation 4 UI is on the screen. Makes absolutely no sense. And the game he's playing is like an Atari game in the thing. That was my biggest gripe in the entire movie. I didn't know where to put that. I didn't want to put it in his part because I felt like it detached from it. I just thought it was like the dumbest thing. And it goes to like this idea that why do movies do video games so dumbly? It's just like the most always over the top, or they're like playing the controller like they have they're having an epileptic seizure. I don't understand why video games are always done so bad in movies. But overall, VHS is much better than the first film, and I think the first film is already an incredible entry. I just think what this one did in terms of pacing and overall production, I thought all of the stories had something that I walked away from thinking it was cool, and it wasn't where I felt like there was real lull moments like the first film. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I appreciate you all.